All right, the recording has been started. So once again, hello and welcome everyone to week 3 for TEM. How's everybody doing this evening? Doing good, I hope. Some are doing well. Yes, fantastic. Awesome, great, fantastic, awesome. Very good. Glad to see so many of you are doing well. I just want to say I was kind of watching the uh, conversation earlier, and I thought that that was very cool about the Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Unity. I actually read that earlier today. I'm sure many, if not all of you, have heard about the Cathedral Notre Dame burning. So apparently, there might be a chance that Ubisoft, because they mapped out everything so in detail for Assassin's Creed Unity for the cathedral, that they might actually be able to use that to help recreate and rebuild the cathedral once they get around to starting that. So I thought that was pretty cool when I saw that. I saw somebody else in here just now. Actually, Cody said that he was researching for a D&D campaign. That's awesome, Cody. Like I said, I don't know if you were here week 1. I'm an old school D&D player. I've been playing since I started playing when I was 11 years old. I'm actually doing research right now myself to start a campaign in the Warhammer 40,000 universe because I'm a huge Warhammer 40,000 fan as well. So it's certainly a good way to pass the time and get a little creativity going through you. So glad to see so many of you are out this evening. We got 31 in here. Oh, I heard about that. Yes, the new. Yeah, I did start. Samuel just said started in AD&D. Yes, I did start right between first and second edition. Actually, was when I started. So we kind of had a mixture of first ed books and second edition books. And I had the pleasure back in 1999 of actually meeting Gary Gygax, the creator of Dungeons and Dragons. So that was kind of cool when that happened. All right, so glad to see so many of you out here tonight. We have 32 of us in the room. I think we're going to get started. Once again, my name is Chad Pusick. I will be your instructor for this evening. I have been for the last couple times, and I should be for the next one that we have. And don't forget that the next session we have is going to be on the 30th, and that is because next week is spring break. So I know this comes as a surprise for many people in the online sections. Yes, you do get a spring break. Our spring break is next week. So there will not be a session next week. It'll be the week after, and I'll remind you of that again when the session is over, pending, of course, I remember it myself. All right, so let's take a look back here. Hopefully, yeah, true story, Bryson. There is a spring break. Hopefully, week 2 went well for many of you. One thing I would like to point out, though, please, there is school. Hannah just asked if there's no schoolwork at all next week. We have everything open for the month, Hannah. So the only thing that changes is that the due dates are extended. So you're more than welcome to keep working. But yeah, you can. And Samuel is just getting to that. You can certainly do week 4 work next week as well if you want. You're more than welcome to work ahead. One thing I want to point out this week, I'll get the disappointing part out of the way. I had a number of students, at least in my sections, requesting extensions or handing in projects late for week 2. Please, please, please be aware you need to give yourself ample time in order to start your projects. The difficulty level at Full Sail goes up very dramatically after you get through your first few classes. Not saying that the first ones are easy, but once you start getting into your core classes, you're going to find that you are going to put a lot of time into your work. So it's in your best interest to make sure that you start getting work done early, or at least getting work started early. That way you get questions answered as well, and you give yourself ample time to complete any projects. So just kind of looking back, week 1, we did a plan of attack. Hopefully you guys are using that. Hopefully you will consider using it as you move forward in your degree programs. The plan of attack, I think if you can make those out for yourself every month, will go a long way towards helping you budget the time that you need in order to get these projects done. And then, of course, we had the industry websites assignment. That was researching websites connected to your degree, as well as researching sites that are part of your degree, as well as researching sites that are connected to your degree from other degree programs. Week 2, we talked a little bit about industry growth. I really enjoyed reading through my section's projects. I liked seeing what you guys come up with for the future. Of course, I had another number of people come up with holodecks and whatnot, and being able to directly plug into games. And there's a lot of crazy stuff that the future, I think, is going to bring for us, pending that the robots don't come kill us first. Yes, I'm terrified of robots. I've seen the Terminator way too many times. So we talked a little bit about industry growth, and then we also did industry terms, getting you to know the lingo of your classes or of your degree program, as well as the lingo of the classes connected to your program. So hopefully all of this one has gone very smoothly for all of you. Overall, I've been very pleased with what I see. I've been pleased with the amount of turnout that we've had in the evenings here. I've never seen Terminator or Back to the Future. Is that bad? Samuel says yes. No, it's not bad, Bryson. As generations, there are plenty of movies that I have seen that I've had students both in online and campus section that I cannot believe that students haven't seen. But then again, that's what happens when people get old. I always have students every month that have never seen Alien or Aliens, and those are two of my favorite movies. So I will say they are both good movies, or both good movie series. You can watch the first two Terminators and kind of stop right there. Back to the Future, all three of those are pretty much worth a watch. So week 3. Week 3 is about the networking plan and your making of the mission statement. That is what we are going to be working on this week. Once again, the assignments are stretched out a little bit. You have a little bit more time to work on these due to the spring break, but that's what we're going to be working on in the meantime until week 4 comes around. So week 3. Once again, we're going to be putting this all together. The networking activity is a great way to think about your industry and how you're going to get connected to it more on a personal level. And the mission statement with your actions is how you're going to, how you feel that you're going to go about planning your future. I see a couple of you have said you're getting interference from me. Is anybody else getting high-pitched interference? Hopefully not too many people. Let me adjust something here. Sometimes. Not for me. Okay, I'm going to keep going then. Hopefully this won't get any worse. It could be some of the stuff that's in my room right now. I'm surrounded by electronics all the time. All right. So once again, just kind of putting these assignments into context for you guys. Obviously, we want to educate, practicing iteration and self-awareness, learning your way around the virtual world. Once again, the virtual world is huge. There's more and more jobs in today's world that actually are okay with you working from home. As a matter of fact, as we do this session right now, I'm actually sitting in my room. So in essence, I am working in the virtual world from the location of my house. And many of you guys, as you get further along in your careers, are going to find this to be true in whatever it is that you do. Next up is skill building, making sure you're paying attention to detail, meeting all of the criteria and your deadlines, and just learning about your degree. And then career building, thinking about what you're going to be doing in the future once you graduate, and how you're going to stay in contact with people. So that's, once again, just kind of what we go over here in TEM. Once again, if anybody has any questions, please be sure to click on the little hand raised icon, and I can unmute you and call on you that way, or you can type it in the chat box as well. Hopefully I will catch it in the chat box. If I don't, just keep typing it in. Eventually I will see it. You're not late, Caitlin. You got here just in time. We're just about ready to start talking about the assignments. All right, so your networking plan this week. Your networking plan is going to be a discussion just like last week's project. Networking is about becoming engaged with people. We do have a TED Talk here that you can all view at some point. I'll leave this up here for a little bit so you guys can see that if you want to try and get down that website. But really, it's just about connecting with people in your industry. Most of the time in our industries, The reason you get a job is because you know somebody in the industry. I did web design work for 4 years back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I got my first web design job simply because I knew somebody in the industry who was a good friend of mine. And that's what's going to happen for many of you. Whether it's your first job, whether it's your 10th job in the industry, many people get their jobs because they were able to network. They were able to reach out and they were able to contact people and strike up a conversation with them. So it's a very, very important that you think about networking and how it's going to apply to your careers. So this is directly from the instructions, and this is what you're going to be doing for this project. You're going to create one or more professional networking accounts in a social media platform of your choice. This can be Facebook. It can be LinkedIn is actually the one I recommend the most. LinkedIn is a great one to use. It's essentially Facebook for professionals, but you're going to have a professional account that you can use. If you have one already, great. You've already completed the first part of the assignment. I know that some of you have actually already had a few questions about that. That's perfectly fine. If you already got one set up, you can use that. And if you just want to use LinkedIn, I'm fine with that as well. If you don't want to use Facebook or Twitter, that's cool too. Just as long as you have one account that you can use. Another option is if you have a personal Facebook account, you can create another one that's used for professional purposes only. I know a number of instructors that do that. I know a number of people that actually have two different accounts on the same social media platform. Yes, Caitlin, you can use those as well. Now, if you are using any of these social media accounts that you've already set up, make sure that you go through them and that you don't have anything on there that you wouldn't want anyone to see. No, you are not required to share your personal accounts. Your professional ones, yes, you do have to share those because that's part of the degree is networking with people. But you obviously do not need to share your personal ones. Now, if you do have a personal one that you want to use as a professional one as well, that's perfectly fine. However, just make sure that you go through it and there's no, we call it incriminating pictures or posts. Make sure there's, if you want something on that or don't want something to be seen, make sure you don't have it on there. In today's world, employers do look at Facebook pages. They look at your social media accounts. They want to make sure that you're the type of person they want to hire. So if you have a personal account and you're using it professionally, make sure you're aware of what you have on there. So those are the first two parts of the plan this week. The next part is to actually write out your networking plan. And there's some questions that we want you to answer in regards to your networking plan. The first one is this. What professional networking site or sites, if you have more than one, do you plan on maintaining? What professional organizations do you plan on joining? Where do you plan on making professional contacts? And if you could attend conferences, what conference would you like to attend? What conference or conferences would you like to attend? Now remember, you don't have to attend these. Obviously, there's time constraints and money involved as well. Sometimes they're expensive to go to. But if you had your way, what kind of conferences would you want to attend in order to meet people? An example of a professional organization, Hannah, it's different for your different degree programs, and we have some up on the instructions, but a good example is IGDA.org, International Game Designers Association. That's probably one of the best ones that you can join. Actually, I think I'll just put that in there. So here's a good one for gaming. There we go, IGDA.org. I believe it's org. Could be .com, but I believe it's org. IGDA is great for the gaming community. They have conference lists. They have conference lists. They have people that you can get in contact with. The student membership's very low. So for game art, social media, our best bet. Once again, LinkedIn or Facebook. Also, I highly, if you were in game art or computer animation, and to some degree graphic design, ArtStation.com is another one as well. I'll put that in there. Mobile development, there's a number of them in mobile development, developers clubs. What's the big one? Stack Overflow. DeviantArt's okay, but I would highly recommend ArtStation. ArtStation is great to communicate with people and kind of get your work out there and actually get critiques about your work. So once you have those done, you also want to pick 3 items you could do right now to start your networking. What could you do right now to start? Joining local organizations. If you know somebody in the industry already, can you interview them? Can you ask to be monitored by a professional? Following people on social media sites. David, I'll get to those in a second there, so just hold on to that one. Once again, we do have lists for each of the degree programs, some that are connected. Stack Overflow is a good one for mobile development. Stack Overflow is actually great for all of the programming classes. So I'll put that in stackoverflow.com. That's an excellent one for you guys to get involved with. So really, if your friends are in the industry already, then yes, you could, Caitlin, absolutely. So once again, this is going to be a discussion post, just like it was last week. You're going to want to answer all of the questions. So once again, you're going to have what websites you could use professionally, what conferences you would like to go to, what social media groups could you reach out to. If you are in a major metropolitan area or near one, there's a lot of events, probably more so than you would realize. It doesn't even have to be a major metropolitan area. My hometown of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, is about 75,000 people, and they have local clubs for programmers and artists and everything and whatnot. So it doesn't have to be a major metropolitan area, but any place really with a population center, a lot of times you're going to be able to find local events or groups that you can join up with. Yes, I know. I'm pretty sure New York has got quite a number of gaming organizations. Orlando's got a few themselves as well, like Orlando Meetup or Meetup.com is another good one. I'll put that in. Meetup.com. There we go. That's a good one too to search for events in your area related to different degree programs. There's a lot more going on than you might think, so it should not be too terribly difficult to find these places. If you live out in a rural area, just look at what you could join online. Once again, igda.com is a great one. Artstation.com. Whatever applies to the degree that you are in. It's very, very important for all of you to start networking, either both with each other and seeing what's happening in your industries. By networking, it's a great way to meet new people, great way to find leads on jobs. Also, if you start following people in your industry or people that are already in your industry, since they're already there, that's also a good way to try and determine where your industry is going. All of you right now in class, you are going into career fields that can change at the drop of a hat. They can change very, very quickly. The people in the industry that are there already, they kind of have an idea of where the industries are going. So being able to follow them and just kind of see where things are happening, see what's coming out soon. One thing that I always tell my class, when I graduated, literally the day when I graduated with my computer animation degree was the same day that ZBrush came out. And for many of you now, ZBrush is an industry standard. So that's how quickly the industry can change. Yes, this initial part has to be done by Thursday. Your initial post has to be done by Thursday. So once again, the minimum requirements for this is to create a networking plan with your social media account. organizations you would like to join, steps you're currently taking to build your network, and 3 steps you're going to take in the near future that you would like to do to help accomplish the goal. Yes, those 3 things in the plan have to be done by Thursday because this is all going to be part of your initial post. So once again, you're going to have your initial post just like last week, consisting of this first part, and that needs to be done by Thursday. Once that is, well, it says Thursday. I'll check the dates on it again. I believe you have a little bit longer for this one due to the spring break. So I'll have to check the exact dates on this again. It's a little off because of that. But normally it's done by Thursday. And you have to have your initial post is by Thursday. I said that already like 5 times. Dang. Now I can't remember what I said. So you have that part done first. And then after that, you want to make sure that you reply to 4 classmates' posts as well. That needs to be done by the Sunday after the initial post is due. Just like last week. So you have your initial post made by Thursday, and you have your replies to your classmates by Sunday. Now, this is in the instructions as well. Some networking options by the different degrees, computer animation, social media, CG Society, FX Guide, game art would also fall under that as well. Jessica, reach out to your, am I your instructor, Jessica? I can't remember. In a situation like this, Jessica's saying that she's having surgery for both Wednesday and Thursday. If in this situation, reach out to your instructor as soon as you can. Let them know what your situation is, and they will work with you on that. So we have a number for each of the degree programs here. They should be getting back to you soon then, Jessica. We got some for game art, game design, any of the development ones, mobile dev, game development, those are for programming, cloud technologies, web design and development. Development can also go underneath mobile development as well because there's a lot of crossover between those two. Software development has some very specific ones as well. Caitlin says, so my question is, as a not safe for work artist, I do have not safe for work art on my social media site. Isn't a problem for me, but would it be a problem for other companies or employers? Kind of depends on the company or employer. There's so many out there. I could not answer that. Before you do that, I would recommend that you research the companies that you want to work for, and you can probably get an idea of if they're okay with that or not. So some networking plan or examples. Once again, for this one, as it is a discussion post, you do not need to have customization on there or anything like that. However, I do put this example on here to give you an idea of the length of the project. So it's going to be about 3 or 4 good solid paragraphs or so, talking about what you're going to be doing, what to help your networking plan, what groups you would like to join, whether they be online or whether they be something live in person and local. You have your, excuse me, you have at least one social media account on the post as well that other people can see. Once again, I recommend you use your professional one. You can use a personal one if you want to, but just make sure that you look through it first. Once again, too, it's always a good idea. I know it's a discussion post, but it's always a good idea to type this out in Word or Pages or whatever word processing software you want to use, and then just copy and paste it into the discussion board. Simply because if you're in the discussion board and you're typing it out in there and something happens to the internet, whether it's on your end or our end or whatever may happen, you run the risk of losing it. And I've seen that happen before where students get almost their entire work done, they didn't save it, and something happens where it's lost. And I am a rabid proponent of making sure that you have backups of your work. If you see the number of every game that I play, I typically have about 10 different save games for it because I'm so paranoid that I'm going to lose progress. So I highly recommend that all of you get in the habit of backing up all of your stuff as well and making sure that you're able to access it whenever you can. Just going through the rubric. Once again, I'm not going to cover all of this, but I will go through the exceptional category. You will have it in by the Thursday of the due date, which normally would be this Thursday, but it might be the Thursday after due to spring break. So once again, check the due dates for that. And you have no spelling or grammar errors. You have 4 more paragraphs identifying your networking structure with examples. You've created goals and action plans that answered all the 4 questions. And then you've picked 3 things that you can start doing right now in order to help make this happen. And then lastly, your peer replies. I did have a few, at least in my sections, not do peer replies. Remember, your peer replies are 20% of this grade. So if you don't do the peer replies, you're out 20% right there. So please make sure that you do those as well. Yeah, Caitlin, I'm with you. Save often, save everything, save often, and save it in backups. For many of you, I would suggest this for every one of you. Yeah, 3 flash drives helps as well. I was actually just going to say something like that, Trevor. It's a good idea to invest in a backup hard drive if you don't have one. I've got 2. I've got 2 backup hard drives myself. Whenever I'm doing something important, I usually save every few days with work on a backup hard drive. Yeah, I'm the same way. I like to be able to quick save games. But once again, like I'll play for a couple hours and maybe I quick saved a couple times on there, and then after a few hours of playing, then I make another backup save just in case. But yes, it's definitely a very good idea to invest in a backup hard drive that you can just plug in and back up your work every few days or so. As you move further along, you guys are going to be working on some big projects, large file sizes, especially those of you in computer animation. I know your file sizes get huge. Backup hard drives are pretty cheap in today's world. I mean, I think 2 terabytes you can get for like what, $50 now, something like that. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, just something you can plug into backup. So I highly recommend it. Oh, especially if you're here in Florida. Our rainy season, our stormy season is coming in Florida. So if you are a Florida native, yeah, it's definitely a good idea. We actually had one of our instructors lose a number of his equipment, much of his equipment. I believe it was last October. We had a big storm roll through, lightning hit his apartment complex, and it blew out like 2 monitors and one of his computers, I believe. And it blew out his roommate's switch, which just about broke my heart when I heard that. Yeah, Caitlin makes a good point. 10 years ago or so, 12 gigs of memory was about $150. Yeah, Cody, it's a good idea if you're preparing to move here or if you are living here now, definitely invest in a backup hard drive. This is your first time to Florida. Uh, yeah, nightmare-inducing story with losing the switch. I know, right, Ashley? But yeah, we our rainy season is coming up. We actually had our first really good storm of the season. I believe it was 2 Sundays ago. It rained and lightened everywhere. I mean, it was raining hard enough where you could hardly see across the street, and I think it went on for about an hour or so. Yeah, the West Coast doesn't quite have it as bad, at least with the storms. East Coast, though, especially the Southeast, yeah, we get some pretty good storms here almost every day during the summer. Oh, I'm sorry. Were there any questions on the 3.0 project for this week? All right, no questions. We'll move right along then. I don't see any hands up. Just to make sure, I'll buzz through really quick. Nope, no hands up. Alrighty then. So your mission statement. So now you're going to be writing out your second project is going to be writing out your mission statement and your SMART goals. We do have an example in the PDF. I'll show it to you here in a bit. But essentially, you're going to want to start thinking about what your overall mission is. Consider your mission to be a short-term goal. Many of you have, excuse me, many of you have short-term goals. All of you, I'm sure, have long-term goals. So this is going to be kind of short-term goal related. So I did post the link to the Venture Guide Smart Goals. It is on YouTube. You can look it up. Just look up Venture Guide Smart Goals, and it should come up. You want to download the values list that we've provided for you. So what you're going to do is you are going to come up with a goal that you can accomplish between now and graduation. So once again, it's going to be a short-term goal. We would like it to be something related to your degree or to your career. We have provided an example for you. The example is in the middle of the page here. It actually is right underneath the green text where it says good example. I won't read it out for all of you, but in this case, it was essentially the student wanted to graduate Kmart with a 3.5 GPA or higher. They had their values. Their values were determination and adaptability. And then they talked about some of the actions they can undertake to make sure that their goal happens. Now, I know it says like a goal or a mission statement, and a lot of times mission statements are only 1 to 2 sentences, but the majority of your writing is going to come from the values and how they support your mission and the specific actions you're going to try and undertake to complete these actions and meet your goal. The values list is long. You only need to choose 3. There's something like 250 on there, I think. It's just to get your mind rolling. You only need to choose 3 of them. So yeah, I've had students try to work 20 in there before. No, you don't have to do that. Trust me. You only need to choose up to 3. So you're going to, excuse me, I'm apparently a little parched this evening. This one, Jessica, is just going to be a written statement. You will actually have a video project, but that's in week 4. We'll talk about that when week 4 rolls around. So you'll have your goal. You'll have your 3 values and how they support that goal. And then you're going to have 3 actions that you can undertake to help you meet that goal. And once again, we'd like to have it be preferably related more towards your time here at Full Sail or what you want to do with your career in the near future. We are not necessarily looking for, I want to become the best Overwatch player. That's not really what we're looking for. So hopefully you can kind of gear it towards something that's a little bit more career-minded. Once again, it's considered your SMART goals. So watch the video on SMART goals. Next up, determine what your mission or goal is going to be and write the sentence about that. Determine 3 values and how they support that goal, and then reasonable actions that you can undertake to make sure that you can reach that goal. Once that's done, you're going to put that in PDF format, and then you're going to upload it to FSO. Remember, please make sure your projects for this one are in PDF format. Also, we are not requiring customization on this one. Though if you want to add customization, you are more than welcome to do so, but it is not a requirement for this one. And this project will be due on Sunday. And I believe it's the Sunday after this one. But once again, check your due dates just to make sure. Make sure you follow the proper naming conventions as well. So it should be last name, first name, and then the number of the assignment, which in this case is 3.1. This is an example of the values list. Once again, this is located in the instructions. I didn't put it all in this presentation because we have about 250 of them. But remember, you only need to choose up to 3. So once again, this is the example that we've given. The example's on the right side. I'll kind of go over it again. I won't read it out entirely. But they have their goal, which is to Hannah, I'll have to check that just to make sure. Hannah says the assignment is due on Saturday. I'm going to make sure that the due dates are correct on this one. If they're not, I'll have them corrected for you tomorrow, but they should be okay. Once again, the goal in this case, in the example we give, is to graduate the degree program with a 3.5 or better GPA. They have adaptability and determination. In this example, they only had two. Remember, we want three different examples. And their actions are going to be such as trying new things, uh, examining their mistakes, meeting new people. You can get as creative with the actions as you want. A great example that I received one time, this was from a student in the computer animation program. One of the actions she was going to undertake was she was an environment artist primarily, but she wanted to get better at characters. So one of her actions that she undertook was she wrote body parts on strips of paper. She threw them into a hat. And then every day she drew a body part out of the hat. I know it sounds kind of funny saying that. She drew a body part out of the hat. So she would draw this body part out of the hat, and then she would spend the next half hour to an hour drawing that one part over and over and over. That was one action she undertook in order to get better at character creation. Yeah, it is a great way to learn anatomy as well. She was a campus student. I actually ran into her I think it was about 12 or 13 months after she was out of my class, and she was showing me her work on characters. And needless to say, it had improved greatly. I'm not gonna lie, I was very envious. I was definitely an environment guy. I was not a character guy, so I was very envious of the ability that she was able to do that. So once again, just going over the rubric for you, underneath the exceptional column, you'll have it turned in on time in the correct naming convention. Make sure it's in PDF format as well. Your opening sentence clearly identifies your goal. You have three or more specific values and how they support your goal, and then you'll have your SMART goals themselves, which is the actions, three or more specific actions, and how they support your mission as well. And then lastly is the format, spelling, and grammar. Make sure that you have no spelling errors and everything is grammatically correct. And that is your 3.1 project for the week. Is there any questions on that? No, no, sir, none, no questions. Oh, quiet group tonight. That's all right though. Either I've done a really good job of explaining everything or a really bad job and I've just confused you more. Hopefully it's a good job. Once again, I will be checking through the dates on these projects just to see what the times on them are. If they're incorrect, I'll make sure that all the instructors know so we can get those changed for you. I believe there is an extra week on these, and that is because of the spring break, which is happening next week. So don't forget, we do not have a session next week because of that. The next time we meet, I believe, will be on Tuesday, the 30th. I think that is the next time that we're going to meet. So before I let anyone go here, does anybody have any last minute questions? Nope, none. All right. I'm going to stop the recording here in a second. Don't forget, because of spring break, no class next week. Please make sure that you take some time out for yourself and enjoy spring break. I'm going to stop the recording now, but I will hang out in the room for a little bit. And at this point, you guys are now free to go. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And like I said, I will hang out here for a little bit longer to answer any last minute questions.